discuss about a classical consolidation pattern that is called the wedge. Now, wedge take the shape of a wedge, two converging straight lines, and wedge based on the price behavior post and previous to the formation of wedge can act as a continuation pattern or a reversal pattern. Now, suppose we are discussing about an uptrend. First, there is an uptrend, and then we see that there is a converging two set of lines which formed in the direction that is contrary to the uptrend. So, there is a wedge-shaped correction. Now, if there is a price breakout above this wedge and the price again moves higher and the volume is high, then we can take a stop loss just below the other boundary of the wedge. Now, if the wedge is very insignificant compared to the previous uptrend and it doesn't correct that much, then we directly call that it is just a continuation pattern. It is continuing the previous uptrend. On the contrary, if the wedge itself is very big, then the follow-up up move that happens, that we call as a fresh reversal. That is, earlier we consider that the downtrend was there in the form of a wedge, and now we are looking at a bullish price reversal. Similarly happens in the case of a bearish move. Suppose the price is falling and falling and falling, and now after that there is a wedge shaped correction. Now again, if the correction is to limited extent, we call that it is just a continuation pattern, and once the breakout is happening, then the down move would resume. And if the correction itself is very big, like after the down move the price goes much higher in the form of a wedge, and then there is a breakdown from the lower boundary of the wedge, and then we can take a short trade with a stop loss. And here what happens is that we should have a stop loss above the other boundary, that is the upper boundary of the wedge, and in this case it is called a bearish reversal. So the up move itself is called a very significant move, and it is, rather than being a continuation pattern of the previous down move, it is just the reversal of this significant up move that happened in the form of a wedge. Now let us look at few of the examples here. Here we are looking at the chart of Tata Chemicals, and we are looking at a weekly chart. First we can see that there was an up move, then we can see that this wedge was formed, and this correction in this, they were converging lines, and once this boundary was breached, one should have taken a buy trade with a stop loss below the lower boundary, and we could see that initially the price went high and the volume was also high. Later again, due to some correction, the volume went down, but as the up move unfolded, the volume was up. So here it was a beautiful wedge pattern that acted. Let us look at some other examples also. Here we are looking at Larsen and Toubro. See, here what happened is that after an up move, there was this is continuation pattern, and the earlier one, the Tata Chemical, we discussed was rather than a reversal pattern because the down move was quite deep. Now what is happening here is that after this up move, we can see that this wedge is formed and there is a price breakout, and see, when the initially price had broken out of this range, then again there was a slight pullback which took price just below the top of the wedge, but it didn't breach the lower boundary, and our stop loss should have been the lower boundary. And as and when the up move picked up, we could see that the volume also increased. So this was a very nice example of a continuation pattern of wedge in the daily chart of Larsen and Toubro. Now let us look at some other examples also. Here again in the weekly chart of BHEL or Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited, earlier there was a downtrend, and then what happened is that there was a wedge shaped formed, and as we can see in the wages in the previous ones also and in this one also, as and which we approach the actually pinnacle of the wage or the towards the end of the wage, the volume dies down, and as and when there is a breakdown, the volume picks up, and that happens in the previous cases also. So as we can see, the volume is drying down, and then suddenly we see a breakdown. Then there is a very good shorting opportunity, as we can see, and our stop loss should have been somewhere here, and we could see the kind of down move that was unfolding after the breakdown of the wage. Now another example, let us look at here. Earlier there was a very good up move. It took in the form of a wage only, and it was Thakur sugar mill daily chart, and once it was broken, we could see that the price moved little bit lower and again came back to the edge of the boundary, and from there it fell, and here and here and here it fell directly. So right now we can identify the way a wage is formed, and we can identify when a breakout or breakdown is happening, and we should take trades accordingly with legitimate stop loss. Thank you for watching the video.